It's Teri Anderson, Children's Librarian at Carnegie. Welcome to this edition of our craft time. Today we're going to be working with clay, and it's the sculpey kind that you can actually put in the oven and it will harden. Or if you leave it out for any length of time, it will also harden. But it's not as good because it'll actually begin to get crumbly. So if you put it in the oven, it will harden and it'll pretty much last forever or until you break it. So today, because we're working with clay and it's a little difficult for younger kids to work with it, this is really a craft for about 6 and up. Adults can do it as well. And the little ones can work with it as well. You can have them roll it around and all that, but some of the things that we're going to do with it are probably going to be too fine motor skills for them. So probably 7 and up, 6 and up is a good age. So today what we're going to do is we are going to be working to make a bookmark, and it's a bookworm bookmark. And it looks just like this. It's 2 pieces, has a tail and the little rest of it. And I put a chain on mine, but I recommend probably not doing that. You probably want to put more of a ribbon. And I will show you how to put 2 pieces of metal into your little pieces of clay so that you can attach a ribbon to it. And you would not put the ribbon into the oven with the clay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for this craft you will need sculpey clay. It doesn't matter what color, I just picked yellow because that's what I have. You can do white, and actually after you cook it in the oven you can actually paint it if you want to. I also need black because mine has glasses. So if you want to put glasses on yours and the eyes as well, you can do black. If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. You can just use a Sharpie and put the eyes on there. And the glasses are actually the hardest part. You will also need either wire, or in my case, I took pieces off an old necklace that I had, and I got these little rings. So if you have any sisters or moms that have broken necklaces, they probably have some of these little rings on their necklaces, and you can take them off. And that's actually what we're going to put in the clay to hold our ribbon. So what you need to do is you're going to take some of your clay out, and you've got to warm it up. Because clay is cold, and when it's cold, it's pretty hard. So you kind of want to work it with your fingers. This one's pretty soft because it's pretty fresh. But if you have clay that's not very fresh and it's pretty hard, you want to sit here and knead it and work it, okay? And that'll make it pretty soft. And what we're going to do is for the head, we're going to make a round ball, okay? And it's going to be bigger than the other pieces on here. So we'll take a little piece off. And I like to put all my pieces out at one time. So let's say that's my head. And actually I think it needs to be a little bigger. That'll be my head. And this looks more like my tail. I'm going to need some more. I got to knead it some more because it's hard. And each middle piece is going to get bigger than the tail, okay, by just a little bit. The 2 middle pieces are going to be almost the same size, just a little bit bigger than each other. So see how that's a little bigger? And then our next piece is going to be just a tad bigger than this one. And that's a little too big. So we don't want them as big as our head, then it'll look kind of funny. So there we go. So what we're going to do is we want to roll the head until it's kind of perfectly round like a ball. And then we're going to kind of flatten the bottom against your, I like to use a cookie sheet, just so I don't mess up my table. Okay, so now the bottom of it is kind of flat. And we'll put that to the side because we're going to use it again in a minute. The next piece we're going to kind of make it round as well. And we're going to sit it here and kind of flatten it a little bit too. And then our next piece we're going to make into a round ball. And sometimes if you do it too much, it'll be kind of egg-shaped, but we want more of a round shape. What we're going to do is we're going to put it on here and we're going to press down to kind of flatten it a little bit. Like that. So now it's starting to kind of look like our bookworm body. Now the last piece, we want to do the same thing. I kind of like to flatten it, kind of like this, and then do it. So now, see, we have our body, and now we want to attach our head on top of it. Just like this. So look, we have our body of our bookworm already. And if it's not completely rounded, you can kind of do like this if you want. And it'll kind of make it a little bit round. Now we want to make our tail, so we're going to do 3 pieces, a small, medium, and kind of large piece. This can be our little small piece. They'll end up being our pointy tail. And the way I do that is I kind of do it like this, just roll one end. And then I set it up and I flatten it against the cookie sheet. And looky there, we have our pointy tail, in case you can't see it. Now we'll do our medium-sized middle piece, which is actually probably bigger than the larger piece, just because it takes up more space. That's probably not enough. Remember, if you're using cold clay, to kind of knead it a little bit. This piece is also going to kind of be rectangular or triangular, but not pointy on the end. So there's that piece, and now we can put our point on top of it, just like this. So now we've got two parts of our tail. Now we just have to put our bottom part. The bottom part I kind of flatten like this, and then I kind of go like this and go along here and then flatten again. And then I put this on top of it. And voila, we have our tail for our worm, our bookworm. So now, if you want, you can take your Sharpie and you can just put eyes on it in a smiley face if you want to. If you would rather put real eyes with clay and glasses, then you can take some of your black dough, and this is a lot colder than that yellow dough I was using, so I got to kind of knead it a little bit. And I like to make the glasses first because that tells me where I'm going to put the little dots for the eyes. If you put the little dots first, it's a lot harder to place the eyeglasses. And a lot of times you'll have to take the eyes off and replace them somewhere else. So my clay is pretty warmed up. To make the eyeglasses, you're going to kind of make like a long snake. I don't know if you remember from doing Play-Doh in school, but to make long snakes, you would do this. Just rub it with your finger, keep going down and rubbing it until it's really thin. Just keep doing it. You want it to try to get as thin as possible without it breaking. So without it breaking, as thin as possible. This is still a little too thick. We don't want our glasses for our worm to be too big. They're already pretty big as it is. I think it would be hard to have glasses fit a worm. Alright, so this is pretty good. If you can see, it's pretty small. So what we'll do is we'll take part of it and we'll kind of cut it off a little bit. So you just break it apart. And then with the small part that you broke apart, you'll just make a circle. Just make a circle and kind of press the two ends together, okay? But not too hard because you don't want it to be like flat, okay? So now I have a circle. And I'm going to do the same thing again with another piece and make another circle. And you want to make it about the same roundness, like that one I made way too small. So let's see if I did a better job here. But even if you mess up, don't throw the piece away, okay? Because everything gets reused, because we can use it to make the bridge of the glasses across the nose, okay? So there's my other one. So now I've got two circles for the glasses. And I can take what's left and take a little piece off and just put it between the glasses and make a bridge for the nose, okay? But before I do that, I'm going to put the glasses on my worm, all right? So I'll put one here, and you want to kind of shape it so it's round. So kind of like that. That looks almost like a minion. And then I'm going to put the other one on here, and I'm going to leave a little space between them. And again, you want to shape it so that it's round, and then you press them, kind of press it into the clay so it stays. There we go. And now I'll take this little bit of clay that I have left here, and I'm going to kind of put a bridge across. Just like that. So now he's wearing glasses. Now that he has glasses on, I know exactly where to put his eyeballs. So I'll just pinch just a tiny piece off, and I'll kind of roll it in my fingers to make it round. Maybe a little bigger than that. That was too tiny. And you can do a bigger piece and kind of make it where you can do it in half if you want to too. Totally up to you. As I've said before during my craft time, there's no wrong way to doing things during my craft time. Alright, so I've got one eyeball. You can even make yours kind of goofy if you want, and they can have different size eyeballs if you want, whatever you want to do. Alright, so now it has eyeballs. So our last step is going to be to put these metal pieces into the thing. And whenever we put it in the oven, the metal pieces will be fine because you are heating this up at a very low heat. So it will not melt the metal pieces. I put this in and it did not melt this at all. If you're worried about it, you can wrap it in, you can wrap the metal piece with a little bit of aluminum foil, and it'll be just fine. So you'll just stick it in here like this, where you have a little loop, and you'll stick this other one like this into this other side. Might want a little bit more of a loop there. See, there's a loop. And that's all there is to it. And you're going to put this in the oven at 250 degrees, and you're going to cook it for about an hour, and then you're going to want to check on it. And if it still gives to your touch, if you can still press in on it, then you want to do it for another 15 minutes and then keep checking on it, and then another 15 minutes until it's firm. And after you take it out of the oven, after it's done, you can attach a ribbon on here, and then you can, this is what you put in between the pages of a book, and it becomes a bookmark. So I hope you have enjoyed my craft time for today, and stay tuned for next week for another craft time. Bye bye.